Okay, Thursday, July 13th, 2023. Restack update. Just getting back from the gym. So we have finished our work with the Battle Dome syndicates. This is for our project with Alien Worlds. And now they're getting ready to do a tournament end of July, early August. So I don't know, my view is that tournament probably should be pushed off till the weather cools down. This is like the first summer, like normal summer since COVID. Last summer, yeah, the COVID was gone, but all the supply chain was broken and things were all topsy-turvy as the economy was restarting. But this is like our first, and I think everyone's outside. I know I'm outside a lot and not on the computer playing games or anything or in chats or all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's just my view, but we'll see. We'll see. We have to go and get a prize pool put together and what have you. So, make it enjoyable, for people. Give them some incentive. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I guess I saw about the crypto market overall that some group that's been pretty good with the predictions on the price, and like I said, this is not investment advice, sees a pullback of around, sees some kind of pullback. But, I just take that stuff with a grain of salt because any small news can really turn the market on its head. So, yeah, I'm not dollar cost averaging either. I'm just kind of holding on to what I have, not buying any more, not getting rid of anything. We have to see what the legislation says. And like my personal view, yeah, I hold a position, even though my personal view is it's not a monetary replacement, and it's not even, from an analytical point of view, crypto is not even that great of an investment, compared to other assets. The utility and everything. It's there. It's a technology. Like I said, it's a technology, and I think that technical value is already priced. AI seems to have stolen the show, and that's where I'm focusing my efforts and our efforts. Definitely, like I've been saying, there's definitely a use for blockchain technology, but is it a panacea for the world's problems? No. But is it useful? Yes, of course. So somewhere in the middle is the answer. That's my view. But I'm holding because, as I said, psychology, market psychology is one of these things that can't be quantified. Groupthink, and it's just like you don't know which song will become a hit or which clothing will become a hit. I remember on Facebook a long time ago, there was this a dress with blue and black stripes, horizontal stripes, and someone had posted it on this was before Instagram and everything, posted on Facebook, and it went viral, and that dress sold out. And if you use an analytical point of view and break that dress down, okay, it's fabric, even the fabric is nothing remarkable. I'm sure you can find a lot of fabric out there with blue and black horizontal pattern. That's you can get it made in China, no problem. But you don't know what's going to hook with people, and defy all the rational side of investing, like intrinsic value, utility, all of this. So this is like pure human emotion, human psychology, which is extremely powerful. People won Nobel Prizes for this, trying to define behaviors and everything, behavioral economics and all this. And these are actually like really, really smart people go into this field, because it's really hard to figure out what's going on inside people's heads. So yeah, we maintain, some exposure to crypto as a company and everything, because, we know we don't know. I can say this, we don't know. I have my viewpoints and everything, on this, but I know that I don't have all the answers, that I'm not the man above, if I was, I wouldn't be making YouTube videos about Restack. I would be, I'd be on a yacht, with two helicopters, on the seven seas or something. But or trying to go into space or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, so what triggers the psychology? It's anyone's guess, but I mean, we can definitely say that, interest rates, right? So U.S. inflation came down a lot. There was a number where the inflation, and I think that's also COVID stuff, post-COVID stuff. All the supply chains are getting back online, and now there's even like an overproduction might take place as everyone's trying to catch up, to all the demand. They might overproduce cars, they might overproduce lots of things, housing, who knows? Because there was all this everything was shut down, then there were these shortages, and so that's a normal response to a shortage, is like overproduction. And it's just like, then when you have overproduction, all the prices crash, they stop producing, then a new shortage ensues. Yeah, that's just the cycle. So I think we're starting to see this, see all of this life getting back to normal type of thing. And I'm not sure what that means for crypto, because now we're in a new kind of economy as well. Where anything can happen. We're back into a Cold War economy. U.S. is disengaging from Russia, China. They realize that they have to produce all the steel and semiconductors at home, and so that's puts pressure on interest rates. They have to raise interest rates to keep the inflation under control. So that's a no for crypto. But the fact that we're now in a Cold War situation with China, and in a proxy war with Russia, this is like the Vietnam era. We were indirectly fighting the Russians and Chinese through Vietnam. So that was like the 60s and 70s. So that was like relatively high interest rates, high inflation. Unemployment was higher then. Now unemployment is lower because I think the job market is more fluid. Back then I think there were, people in Montana didn't know about jobs in Kansas. And so that's probably why we got unemployment so high in the 70s. I think there were job openings, but we just didn't have Monster.com or, LinkedIn or whatever to, so people could move around and stuff. So that problem is not so bad as unemployment. But so definitely the pressure on the interest rates are up, but the psychology, right? If there's like one piece of news, one thing goes off the rails, like let's say the U.S. Russian planes get too close to Poland, and the Polish Air Force or the U.S. Air Force with their F-35s blows them out of the sky, and then that creates some tensions. That could send cryptos, gold, all the safety stuff, all the end of the world stuff up very suddenly, very quickly. It's like the Nvidia stock I hold. It went up $80 in a day, and I'd been telling people, and this is not investment advice, that was just my opinion, buy the hell out of that company. That is the future. And they went up like $80 in a day, and then $20 in a day afterwards, like 25%, just on a rating from a guy at Goldman Sachs or a guy at Nomura, one of the major investment houses, said that this is a no-brainer. That this is every portfolio should hold this, and all the fund managers, all the pension funds in the world, had to go out there and grab it because of that rating, because they have a mandate. If a stock meets this rating or this analyst says something, all these fund managers, most of them don't make their own decisions. Most of them are following rules or just following a risk model, and they all jumped on board at the same time. And this could happen with cryptos or anything else, that it could take one piece of news. One piece of news could change everything. So this is just what I do. I'm keeping a position, even though I don't believe in it, to be honest with you, like from a utilitarian point of view. But I also know my weakness is like, I don't understand what's going on in people's heads. I really don't, and it's really hard when you've studied engineering and studied like really hard science, hard mathematics, statistics, to understand irrational behaviors. But the one thing you have to acknowledge is, if you studied all this kind of tech stuff and stuff that follows logic, most people don't follow logic. And once you understand that, you can see the world in a better way, and you won't be as frustrated or upset or anything like it's so yeah. So That's just my view. Like, we're holding it. We're still working with it. We're trying to move more towards AI. Actually, I'm getting one more agile certification so I can be a coach, and all this movement into management. Because what we've seen is there's a lot of weakness in project management, being able to execute the vision. There's a whole, like I said, between the coders and between the programmers and the marketers and the visionaries or the owners of the company is the execution, how to make it happen. And that's where it falters. Like, a lot of people have a picture of their dream house, and then they call up the contractors, and then either nothing gets built, or it gets built wrong, or it gets built over budget, or it takes 5 years to complete. That's the management. That's a lack of management. Lack of disciplined project management skill is why that stuff goes wrong. So that's like the third pillar that's often ignored, and people feel like they don't need it or they can do it themselves. But it's actually, what I've learned in this study is, like, I wish I would have studied this more in school. I studied nuclear engineering. I should have studied industrial engineering, because I think it would have gotten more into this management science. That would have been far more interesting. But I thought, being a nuclear engineer, I could change the world, get into building small nuclear reactors. I'd read a story about nuclear reactors being mounted on barges, and then they could plug into a grid. And it was like a storm in the Philippines, and they plugged into the grid there and gave them electricity. And I was like, that's the future. And now that's coming to fruition. There's a whole bunch of startups doing this. But here I am, but I've been away from the field for so long, I can't get back into it, so I'm managing IT projects. But anyway, so, like, yeah, I haven't been right about the world on many things. I thought that this revolution would have come, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, when it was, and now it's like this coming out of, because it's really needed. You can't rely on Russia and the Middle East forever for fuel when they're hostile. They're hostile towards Western values and Western civilization. So and we probably have to get our uranium industry going again too in America. Instead of buying that from Russia and Africa, we have plenty in Canada, and I believe there's probably a bunch in the Rocky Mountains as well. So, but anyway, that's going off on a sidetrack. Yeah, back to this psychology of crypto. So, yeah, we don't. I mean, now that BlackRock has got this ETF and everyone's like woohoo, but I'm still wondering if they're going to actually have to buy the Bitcoin, or they're going to just do futures, because there's already Bitcoin futures. And the way ETFs work a lot of times is they don't actually, like the gold ETFs, they don't actually buy the gold in many cases. They hold some gold, but they use the futures contracts so that they have a right to buy it if they're called out on it, or they have a right to sell it at a certain price. So they do, like, one cancels the other out. They buy one contract for the short side and one for the long side, and then they cancel each other out. And I think that's how they do it. So I don't know how much they're going to hold. Maybe they have to hold 70%. Like, I think the gold ETFs and all this, they have to hold only a certain percentage, and then the rest, and that's what the right wingers or the conspiracy people call it paper gold and everything. But that's just how the world works. I mean, the people who are trading corn and trading food and all this, that's how they do it. They don't actually go and pick up a train load full of corn and park it at their house. They're just buying a contract, and then they flip the contract real quickly if it goes up or down a lot. And they do it on leverage too. So they borrow a whole bunch of money, and if it makes like a 1% move, on $1 million, in 10 minutes, they make $10,000 for that 10 minutes or something. So that's how this game works. That's how it. But we'll see. We'll see how much the institutions can drive it, because, as I said, if things go ETF, then it's also taxed, right? So if the Bitcoin goes up, they got to pay taxes, and then it's competing with other investments. There's ETFs that represent Tesla. There's ETFs that represent, they have a mix of Tesla, Amazon, Nvidia. I have that one. It has like all the top 10, top 20 tech companies in one ETF. So, I'm not sure really what the impact is. I guess people would rush into the ETF if there's that psychological factor, right? If there's some little bit of news that implies some global instability. I think the whole monetary argument of crypto is like that of gold. it's depending on like a crisis. It needs a crisis or needs some catastrophe to get price movement, to get upward price action. I think that's where it lies. If everything is going good in the world, all the world is pulling together, everyone's got a job and inflation is under control and eggs don't cost a fortune, then crypto doesn't have much to stand on, and then it's just a technology, and that's what it has to stand on, is its technological attributes. But if there is like this another pandemic, or war escalates where we get hot with Russia or China, something, we get into a hot situation, yeah, it can skyrocket very quickly. And I guess that's the lottery ticket view of investing, right? You hold some things hoping that one day in the next 1,000 days or so that you get this spike and you can quickly cash out. That's, I think, how to play it. That's just my view. That's my view, that yeah, hold something. Like crypto is like less than 2 or 3% of my overall portfolio. Most of my portfolio is in real estate, stocks, U.S. Stocks, and Norwegian defense company Kongsberg. This is oldest company in Norway, Kongsberg, group. They do oil and gas, but they started out as a weapons company, and they build this NASAM system, the new air to surface or surface to air missile system, NSAMs they call it. Yeah, NSAMs they call it. The Norwegian surface to air missile system, or new surface to air missile system, or something. It defends the White House, is defending Ukraine. Their orders are way up. They bought up the Nammo ammunition company that makes the 50 caliber sniper rounds. So their demand has gone up. They bought up Patricia in Finland, and now Finland has joined NATO. So this Norwegian company has quietly acquired. I don't think they own Bofors in Sweden yet. That's I have to figure out how to buy that stock. But Bofors is known for making howitzers, which is now like, we thought no one would ever need howitzers again. Well, boy, were we wrong. This is like classic World War I style warfare here in Ukraine. And a lot of the Americans I've met that have come here to fight, or the British, they never had to deal with artillery in Iraq or Afghanistan. Taliban and ISIS don't have artillery. Not much, let's say. And they are not able to do it in big numbers like the Russians. And it's another kind of warfare. When I was in the military, in the Navy, and I knew some people in the Army, I worked in joint commands before, artillery was like, nobody wanted to do that. Everyone wanted to be an infantry, everyone wanted to be a pilot, everyone wanted to, like air defense and artillery were, like boring, because the warfare, everyone wanted to do special forces and rangers, but this is like brutal, raining metal type of warfare now. So these companies are producing the 155 millimeter rounds and the systems to deliver them, the optics, the targeting, the programmable ammunition. So these things are also taking the thunder out of crypto, because like I said, the world had just changed. Almost 2 years ago now, the world has just changed on its head overnight. And now the reality is setting in. COVID is over, and everyone is waking up that this is a forever thing. This is not like a pandemic, like a 1.5, 2 year pandemic, and it goes away and we go back to normal. No, Russia, China is like a forever problem. And we were asleep at the wheel thinking that that these countries are gonna come around and become Western, and everyone's gonna cooperate and strive for human rights and what have you. No. It doesn't work that way. So yeah, that's just my view on what's going on. Give you an update. This weekend, like I said, I'm going to do one more of these certifications. So I did the project manager one, and now I'm doing this agile coaching one, so I can have it on paper that I know what I'm talking about. Gives you more credibility, and we can add that to our portfolio of offerings to companies to provide this framework so they can deliver. Because as we've seen in Web3, most of the companies couldn't deliver because they just put developers in charge of it, and they turned developers into project managers, thinking that if a guy is a good programmer, he could be a good, good project manager or something. But that's not always true. It's two different skills. It's two very, very different skills. It's like an officer and enlisted in the military. A guy who's a good machine gunner is not going to be a good platoon leader. Or a guy who's a good sniper is not going to be a good, team lead or something. It needs training. It needs assessment for those skills. So yeah. So the officers usually, like in the military, go through their own training, and they're all focused on leadership, and the enlisted do all the technical stuff like the shooting, the demolitions, operating the weapon systems, doing specific jobs. So that's also the way IT is. So I got the guy cutting the grass here. Long overdue. In Ukraine, it's not like America, where the grass is always cut. We get it cut like once every summer. So yeah. Anyway, that's all I got. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.